All right, let's roll this. We've got a 30-minute replay review from Vitamin C. Let's take a look here. Looking through form. 5 a.m. LOL. Had a lot of stomps so far this season. Both getting so codes was hard. I'll provide a few, and you can do it however you think best. So many Zaryas, Monkey Symmetras, Faras this season. Must have some decent perks. Speaking of which, I mostly use Blade, Lifesteal, and extra damage on Dash, as those are the ones I feel the most impact from. 1. I'm also Plat 1 now, after 8 hours play this season. Nice. I think I'm doing a few simple things wrong, but still my main and most annoying thing is going to be going in and being the best Genji to ever breathe for 3 minutes, then looking like a rival spot for the next 3. I feel very hot and cold, and that's just in individual games. It feels like I find it hard to get the ball rolling in Genji, but when I do, I do. Okay, let's take a look here. So I think the big thing when it comes to inconsistency is, you know, we've talked a great deal about inconsistency. I actually want to send you I had a video on this, which I kind of break down a lot of the consistencies. Here, let's say this. So stop missing the guide to Overwatch 2 consistency. I'll take a kind of quick look at that and see if any of these outliers are problems with you. But actually, there's one other one that I would throw in there, which is, I think I underplayed here. Actually, I don't even know if I bring it up, which is kind of tragic. I was such a moron back then, young and foolish, which is maps and compositions. So especially with a character like Genji, your mileage may vary. You talked about, oh, so many Zaryas, so many Mays, so many, etc. Fill in the blank, right? Knowing how to adjust your playstyle, really not even adjusting your playstyle, but adjusting your positioning and how you're approaching things versus these comps is really, really important. Playing the fundamentals of shotgun angle, but knowing, okay, where is my shotgun angle? Like, am I playing for distraction? Am I playing patiently? Do I have actually opportunity to go for assassinations and so on? If you ever got the chance to watch my Genji Hero Misery with Tetris, I forget what it's called. It's what's more recent, one of my more recent Genji videos. It is called, what is it called? I forced a Genji main to overcome his worst counters 2 months ago. Anyway. We talk a great deal about how it's like basically the same principles over and over and over again, but how those principles look like are dependent on what you run versus. So a shotgun angle versus a Pharah might look very different from a shotgun angle versus a Zenyatta, because a Pharah might hold an angle where I can't shotgun her at all, so I just need to avoid that angle entirely. A shotgun angle versus a tank might be more patience, pressure, consistency, taking favorable HP traits, whereas a shotgun angle versus Zenyatta might just be I blow his head off and kill him. Right, but it's the same kind of positioning principle. So we want to touch base and see what next things you need to work on. Progress does feel slow, but it does feel like progress. And I just am aware that I had a massive break from Overwatch. And yeah, that's a big thing too. Massive breaks, it happens. That's a big deal. Mechanics are way better. I know what I'm doing most of the time. If you don't change my name on your Patreon page at the end of your videos, you will upset me. Okay. Yeah, I need to update that more often, but sadly that stuff pivots out a lot. So I change it about once every couple of months because of that. It takes a long time to update that because I have to share it with my thing. So just a fair warning. Okay. Looking through the rest of the form here. I also play Tracer and Quick Play, but more for fun. Genji is my priority. Okay, let's take a look here. So we got 2 codes here. I don't know if we'll be able to get through both, but maybe we can kind of take a quick glance. I am curious about. Let's actually look at how the composition evolves here. So we got like Bash and Sojourn. This is not the worst comp to play Genji into. This should be okay. Crud. Okay, I need to actually screenshot this because I knew this was going to happen. I'm convinced it's either a certain perk or something that's crashing the client, and I'm trying to find out the consistent theme here. If any of you guys watching this are like, I notice I always crash when this character is in, I'm curious if that's the case. I actually screenshotted. I'm starting to screenshot the ones that crash the client. So we'll have to restart, and we'll go from there. This is the awkward silence that I have in most social situations. What do you do for a job? What? Speak up, boy. I can't hear you. I coach. What do you coach? Anyway, about the weather we're having today. You guys get me, right?
Ready for battle.
So I think we were here, right? Let's screenshot this. And we'll say that's save as 22222. I really do want to look at the comp though. If this crashes me again, I'm gonna weep. Doomfist, Lifeweaver, Hanzo, Sombra. Yeah, I mean this might be worth looking at. And then the other one here, they actually go Moira, which is funny. Is here. If this crashes as well, I will commit a war crime. Pharah, Mercy, May. Ooh. Okay, so let's actually look at the first one, but I do want to take a brief look at that other one as well. It's like specific points in the VOD that crash it as well, I think. Okay. Shotgun angles. Getting close. Applying pressure. Sure. Get him out. Next angle. Sure. Good cooldown trade. Nice wall climb. Could be me. Waiting for your team to regroup here. Now, because I've worked with a student before, just a fair warning to those watching this, we are going to kind of not breeze over things, but especially because this is a 30-minute replay review, I want to make sure that we're being efficient with the student's time. So if you want any more clarification about maybe shotgun angles and what that all means, I would clarify that you probably should watch some of my other Genji sessions that maybe go into a little bit more detail. Okay. Main thing here is more of you go for the commitment, and then you need to hit the mechanical commitment. And then when you dash, it's important to actually dash to cover here and then to not dash into the open. I think like the general rule is that a disengage towards your team is less valuable than cover, usually. Just something that's worth pointing out. That being said, let's all point and laugh. That's pretty funny. So hey, you got your one, right?
My duty calls.
Taking top. Sure. Don't get pincered by behind from the Sojourn. It's okay, so there's a couple of things here. So one is I like this angle, okay. I think this is alright. But obviously your HP is still not fully healed. Like your Kiriko and On are kind of focused on main, which is, you know, whatever here. But then two things here. First off is you walk forward, cancel your deflect early, continue to shoot your shurikens, and then a lot of just, frankly, missed shots, right? So this is something that, this is like, you're a full commit here. Full commit. I want you to be more deliberate with how you're controlling the angle and play the cover, play the cover, play the cover. Don't force anything. If you're going to force something, there needs to be a good reason for it, and you need to full commit. And this feels kind of like a halfway commit when simply just kind of holding the angle and applying pressure for here until you see cooldowns or see people get low, then you go from there. A lot of what I'm seeing right now is just a little bit of mess. It doesn't really seem like you're thinking fully about how you're engaging or where you're engaging or when you're engaging. Like right now, if you dash this, that's fine. Go for the 180 melee. Or don't. Your choice. Yeah, I don't know. It seems just, again, just a bit mechanically messy here. Okay. Take the angle. Good. Shoot some shurikens. Good. Hide. Don't peek this. There you go. Wait for your healing. There you go. A little awkward there because we awkwardly timed with the reload. And this is where there isn't any way to sugarcoat it. You just need to hit your shots. You just need to hit your shots. I look at this situation here. I look at this angle here. And you just need to hit more than what you're hitting right now. And we'll talk about maybe some of the things that you're doing wrong. So let's slow this down just a little bit. That's fine. Over flick. Over flick. Over flick. Slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a little bit. I think one of the things that, I'm not going to take credit for this one, but one of the things that one of my old students brought up to me in a lot of his Genji habits, and he said that one of the things that helped him a lot was kind of realizing that he was very jerky and flicky and very chaotic with his alternate fire. And it meant that sometimes he was doing all these flick jerk whatever things when he just needed to focus on being smooth and tracking the enemy's head as best as he possibly could. Now that obviously changes if you're going for like a 180 dash blink turnaround combo, whatever, right? I say blink, but you know what I meant. But most of the time, like you've actually been able to keep this Ana on your screen basically the entire time, like from here on out. So any other hero, I wonder if you would have done a better job actually keeping your crosshair on that person. I don't think the way that you moved was too disruptive. She wasn't blinking. She wasn't strafing like crazy either. You just either underthought this or overflicked. And by underthought, I mean that you weren't really locked in, like you weren't really focused on her hitbox. You just were kind of turning your brain off. Or you were being way too nervous, way too uptight about this, and you just needed to relax. I think the solution is really, really simple. You go into games and you literally work on nothing but your mechanics. But you don't just work on your mechanics because how do you work on your mechanics? Well, you work on being smooth and deliberate with your alt fire. In the same way that I would coach, ironically, an Ana player to be smooth and deliberate with their anti-nates, don't rush, take the extra half a second, I would coach you to do the same. And what that might look like is, I'll kind of demonstrate in practice range here, and I'm going to make the same mistakes that you're making because this was a habit for me with Genji. It still is a habit for me because I don't play Genji enough, sadly. But it means that when I'm doing all these crazy things here, I'm going to be smooth. I'm not going to be jerky. It's almost like, you know, you took a little too much NyQuil, you know what I'm saying? I flick there, but then there's no real reason to flick otherwise. And so I'm just kind of being smooth and tracking. And just because that's a real person doesn't mean I change how I flick. So you can see a little flick there because there's a big compensation because I just 180'd. But there's none of this stuff. Even to a little bit, and you can kind of see, like, it's not just the flick, it's also you flick back, right? Like, we don't want that. Be smooth and relaxed. And you could do this in deathmatch, you could do this in ranked, you could do this in quick play, you could do this in Vaxta, you could do this in anything that you want to practice. But it's really, really, really important that you don't have the number of engagements that, like, the biggest thing that I can give you now is that, yes, you've taken a couple of high-risk engagements throughout this VOD. But to be honest with you, mate, there have been at least 3 or 4 times just in the start of this VOD where either somebody should have died or you should have been able to take the 1v1 better and not died. And a lot of it is just coming back to mechanics. Like, I can't give you a diamond stamp of approval with some of the things that you're approaching with right now. Like, this is a great example, right? You're going to die to this Ana. Because if you look at what was happened here, there's that flick. You see it? The flick jerk, right? Overflicked. Okay, that's okay. Don't worry about it. That flick, unacceptable. You have to hit at least 1 shirk in there. Unacceptable that you hit only 1 shirk and headshot there. Unacceptable. You see the flick? It's frantic. It's frantic. If you hit literally, I think, what is it? 2 shurikens more here, she loses. Or even just 1 shuriken headshot. I mean, that's tragic, right? That's tragic. And that's the problem here. But it's the thing that the reason why I want to highlight this is it's not just, oh, you need to practice more, you need to practice more. That's probably true. That would definitely help. But you need to practice with addressing this habit. This habit is horrendous. It's like the equivalent of like turning every corner with Cassidy with your crosshair at the floor. Yeah, like with practice, you'll compensate, but you're always going to be working with severe ankle weights. Break this habit or significantly cut down the amount of times that it happens. Look at how much more smooth you are with primary fire. Not that you're hitting every shot, but there's at least a fluidity, right? And then as soon as you get into close range engagements, it's like all of a sudden it's life or death. Everything's panicky.
This ends now.
Yeah, they're just blowing a lot of ults. You guys see that's just chill and they'll be okay. Okay, let's move forward. Well, I would be taking space here, of course. Wow. Okay. Let's look at how. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Look how deliberate that was. Good. Well done. Chill. Oh, one thing I just forgot. I guess now that we're equipping perk, I don't like the dash damage one as much because it requires you to get in an elimination for it to do the extra ticky damage. I don't know. Maybe it is good. I like the deflect heal a lot better. I think that one's a lot more consistent. That's basically 50 guaranteed healing on every deflect, which is like really freaking good in 1v1s and when you're taking deeper angles. So experiment with it more, but I figured that would be worth pointing out. Yep. I'll probably go for the Ana instead. Because she was right there, but that was fine. Okay, let's keep going. Do your worst. Sure. Did she actually just kill herself on the bounce? That's hilarious. Because I don't know if you deflect the... Oh, you deflect the bounce, but it bugs. So it doesn't register for your deflect. That's kind of funny. You probably need to get off of card here. So, you know, I think you need to be holding this angle here in general, and with maybe not even going for the peak deflect here, but yeah. That is Remarkably fortunate, but we'll take it. A little slow with the combo of that blade, but we won't over sweat it too much. Okay. Let's keep going. Is it going to crash, or are we going to stay nice and calm? Stay nice and calm. Don't crash, replay viewer. Yeah, this is where things are kind of kicking into hubris here. So there's one other 1v1 tip that I'll have for you here is you need to gauge your ability to stay post-deflect a little bit better. So first off, we're kind of extended beyond where our team can really contribute right now, which is important. But you approach this engagement, it's a little far, and you pop your deflect. Okay, probably a little early. Nobody was actually even shooting at you. There's no crucial cooldown that you have to block. She didn't even have rail, whatever. Your stay has expired. You are not allowed to stay anymore without deflect. That's just the rule. You need to go ahead and dash out now. Otherwise, you will get shot in the head, blown up, naded, slept, everything. This becomes just a little bit of hubris where you're like, oh, I didn't get punished for it. But at the same time, you don't have your deflect anymore and you're exposed in the open. You need to be really, really, really cautious. You got punished for this earlier when you deflected and then continue to stay heavily in the 1v1, even though they're basically full HP. Same kind of thing here. It's not that you're not allowed to take a 1v1 without deflect, but that you need to gauge the risk versus reward a little bit better. This is a 3v1 without deflect, and you've seen no major cooldowns. That's probably not something that you should be playing with. Like right now. Just chill or disengage. Oh, we got to prioritize cover. I think you misjudged your dash distance, but I think, again, dash towards cover or hold cover. Covers everything with Genji. I think that was the intention there to give you, cut you some slack. I think you were trying to go to cover, but it's okay. Oh gosh. Okay, let's just wall climb up. Careful about playing in the open here. This is fine. You have your deflect, so you should be okay. There it is. That's what we love to see. That's the combo right there. Get close. Nice. Look at how fluid this was. Look at how fluid. Oh, dear. Okay, well. We got to try this again. I mean, looking at how fluid your engagements were, and then even the deflect, and then the alternate fire up and the sojourn, you're not jerk flicking for no reason, right? It just felt super fluid. You're taking all the excess movement out. And that's kind of like the interesting thing. If you talk about like high level fill in the blank, anything that's mechanical, anything physical, a lot of it is taking wasted motion out. What are the, like, whether it's a sprint start or whether it's throwing a baseball or whether it's like anything, right? It's about finding the motions that are useful, that will enhance what you're doing. And then it's finding the ones, the wasted space, the wasted effort, the extra steps, the things that either are not worth your attention, or not only are not worth your attention, but also may actively take away the quality of what you're doing. So this is always going to be risky, right? You don't have your deflect anymore, but you've seen enough. You see her HP, you've seen CDs, and look at this, right? Primary fire aimed relatively well. Look how smooth that was. You did make a small adjustment, right? But it was smooth. It was small. Even that looked relatively smooth compared to the first point. It's night and day in execution. And when we talk about maybe some of your inconsistency, we talked about, okay, maybe it's your matchups versus certain heroes or certain maps. But you know what, mate? It might just be that. I mean, really, it really might just be that. Like that, along with maybe some other factors. I don't know if that's a confidence thing. I don't know if that's deliberate. I don't know if it's certain heroes or situations where you feel more pressured yourself. It's also worth pointing out that this has been a relatively positive couple of fights from you, whereas before it was a relatively couple of negative fights, which meant that your mechanics, well, I didn't mean that, but it certainly looked like your mechanics were worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You can control this. This is not without your control. The quality of your raw aim potential is outside of your control, but your ability to force yourself to slow things down is under your control. That is absolutely a choice that you can make. I can tell you that because I've done it, right? And so that's something that I want you to challenge yourself to do. You need to get off the card here. They're going to touch. Oh, my days. This is terrible. With all due respect, you need to be on this angle. You need to assume that they're going to touch, especially with the Wrecking Ball. You should have been up here ages ago. 5 on cart doesn't help. Sure, get close. Wall climb. Smooth. Cheeky without deflect, even when you're up 1 or 2. That was a little cheeky. Okay. Let's, do we cap here? If so, I might skip to our defense. Yeah, I know you might get a 7k here, but I think regardless of whether we cap or not, I want to see how you approach. Okay, looks like things go pretty well. Looks like things go really well. I want to see. Let's watch just a little bit. Let's watch from here on out, and then we'll move ahead to the other code. I want to get kind of a broad, different situations, different maps, different heroes perspective. Pull out, 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 pull out. I mean, this is a good play, but like, wow, that is... You should not be here. This is really, really, really silly. You're literally completely by yourself there. Okay. Short angle. More of a micro thing. But... Oh dear, I forgot we went 20 seconds back, so we'll skip ahead here. More of a micro thing here, but that's not really where you want to pop blade. You don't always have to dash into the air, but you do want at least proximity prior to the blade. So when I look at this here, this is when I would 100% dash above the Ana, just because I would rather pop blade here than pop blade here. Because now you're going to have to use your dash to close the distance, which is pretty all or nothing. You see what I'm saying? Just something to consider. There's the lifesteal. Love to see it. I really do like the lifesteal, I will say, for the minor perks. Honestly, I think you ran out of mousepad space there. We're going to have to go ahead and move to the other code. But I actually like that you actually took a little bit of an extra second, maybe because you ran out of mousepad space, to adjust your crosshair into the Sombra. I think it was unintentionally smoother than some of what we've seen earlier. Okay, let's keep going here. So main things for me are the level of respect that you give the enemy team when you're 1v1ing without deflect. You need to be really cautious about that. Just be a little bit more consistent. Disengaging towards cover, big priority for you. And then frankly, the most important thing has been your mechanical consistency with how smooth you are with alternate fire up close. Very, very, very important. Let's take a look at some Hollywood here.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming.
Okay. Let's keep rolling here. Pharmacy, Life of Kiriko Orisa. Take your angle. Good honest Genji. No real pop-off moments versus this comp. However, Mei as well. Not a real lot of angles that they can contest you on here. It's a little too far, first off, and then obviously, like, you needed to deflect, go to cover. I think that was the intention, but yeah, it's pretty disrespectful to the enemy team. Yeah, that was a little sloppy. Take that top left there. Yeah, take it, and then use your deflect if you have to once you're here. Just because having to deflect and then take the angle means that they can poke you out from the angle and then you end up inside of your team. Be really, really, really thoughtful. Like, this is, okay, so this is what it is, okay? This is not a mechanic skill check composition. It will still be important to have your mechanics, but there's no real one character here that's just going to be able to exist on an angle and one shot with your combos. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be very, very deliberate. Macro, space control, off angles, pressure, distraction for CDs, and so on. And so this kind of stuff, there's not going to be any Widow you just going to dash in and triple headshot shuriken, right? If you are putting yourself at a massive disadvantage doing things like this, and this is why Genji players really struggle, is because if you don't execute the really boring basic fundamentals of taking space and taking angles and being patient and holding your deflect and baiting attention and forcing ice blocks and forcing Suzus and pulling the pharmacy's attention and not dying, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. So not a great start so far with how we're setting things up. You play your shotgun angle. Set up on your angles. Save your CDs. Dash in there if you'd like to, but hold your deflect. Yes, this is good. So throw your shuriken, throw your shurikens if you need to. Why did we get chipped so much? Did we take damage on entry? A little bit, yeah. We were a little too slow in the setup, so we're taking a lot of chip damage as we're trying to rotate. But yeah, I think dashing out there was fine. Top left, top left, top left, top left, top left, top left, top left. Oh my days. Nice. Good proximity there. I might stay here even though you're down one. I wouldn't chase the Pharah. Deal with the immediate threat. which is pivoted to Mei. You need to force this ice block if you can. Good. Now you can stay. Force her down and stay. Ooh. Gambly. I don't hate it. Like, I saw it. It was close. I don't hate it. Now shoot the Orisa. Like, your positioning has been so much better because you're actually playing a shotgun angle here. You notice this? So it's really hard for the rest of the team to follow up. And you're holding space for your team despite being down one. This has been good. Yeah, just get her. Get her. Get her out. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, you can either stay here and shoot Orisa, or you can even rotate to here. This is because this kind of becomes the next quote-unquote shotgun angle. I would even dash there. I don't like how we're just we kind of pause taking space here. I think we're kind of waiting and looking for fat deflect or looking for blade. But even looking for pressure from here or just standing here would have been a lot safer and more consistent. I'm not even sure. Man, I don't know. There's a couple of questions here I have. Something that maybe you can kind of elaborate on is you kind of freeze and then, you know, you can't deflect this ult. Like, this will kill you. So be really careful. And we're not even really setting up for our blade, I don't think. Like, even with life, even with the tree, blade is fine. Like, blade is fine. Just using it for the intention of forcing attention, you know, and then living. Seems like we're kind of waiting for a Q that I'm not really sure what the Q is, you know? But, okay. Good stuff. Is that a Soul Dynasty skin? What is that skin? That's not a Soul Dynasty, is it? No. Maybe it's just the gold-plated version of some other skin I'm not familiar with. Okay, I love the Shatter 2K spray as well. Shout out to good old Shatter. All right, let's see how we set up here. Okay, I see you deflecting front line. I don't love that. So you got to ask yourself, okay, I've got the advantage of mobility and double defensive cooldown. So where can I rotate from here that could pull attention away from my front line? And I can still deflect when they put emphasis on me, but it will pull attention away from the front line. You got to ask yourself those questions. I look at this situation here, and I'm thinking probably an angle like this here, or maybe even looking for an angle here. Oh, they're going to chase me. Yeah, dash out, rinse and repeat. That's Genji. That's Genji. You got a Cyborg Ninja roleplay. This is not where you want to be, especially without deflect. You see that? I mean, oh my goodness gracious. I think way too many. So what we're kind of seeing here is there's way too many frontline deflects. Way too many frontline deflects, right? Not enough taking space. Part of that might be because you're scared of the enemy composition, but that's exactly why we don't frontline deflect, right? And then in addition to that, I would also love to see a little bit more consistency with the mechanical flicking that we talked about earlier. So we got a little bit of both here. A little early in the deflect there. Don't see any pressure coming in from there. Okay. Probably worth dashing here just because of the status of how much help that you have. Yeah, your supports are with you. Okay, we're good. Take top here. Get up close to that Pharah. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're good. See, you can contest this. You can win that 1v1 when you're close. Okay, be very careful here. Nice. That was well played. Look how much easier that matchup is when you're close and you have your cooldowns. I'm referring to both the Mei and the Pharah. Oh, maybe. I'm feeling it. Yeah, I see it. I saw it. A little early in that deflect, just around the javelin spin, but that's all right. Good use of space. I know you're thinking about it. Probably not worth going for given how many you're down, but oh my days. Only not as much of a fan because of how many you were down, but you know, it's not a bad play. Nice. She's gonna die. Okay, maybe she's not gonna die. Don't put yourself in the middle of the enemy team here. Yeah, this is... You want to stay, so from here, you gotta ask yourself, do I have any reason to move from this position right now? You know? Do I see somebody that's one? Do I want to pursue the Kiriko? We're just kind of putting ourselves in the middle. Like, you really want to avoid being in the middle. So when we talk a lot about our angles, like how we're playing, whether it's, you know, playing here or playing up top, or we even talked about controlling this position here, controlling this position here. It's really important that I'm not sure how many of these things that we've spoken about in the past, but we're kind of playing on the outside. We're rotating around the enemy team, playing on the clock, right? That's the big thing here. And a lot of times I see you kind of crossing that line, putting yourself in the middle, going for a one-shot here. And look at where that puts you, both in a position where you got pincered, but then you had to dash out and kind of standing in your own back line. So we lost the Weaver. Okay, there we go. We got him. Don't love the dash on the Mei just because of the amount of HP that she had. So this is like another situation. Why do I not like the dash on the Mei? Because look at where it puts you. Where could you have stage? Shuriken, dash to finish, right? You're already close to her, so you don't need to dash to get closer. And then it means that you're kind of stuck. You got a far in the back, a wrist in the back, Mei in the front. There's really nowhere for you to go. Yeah. And that's where, again, I really love the deflect heal there. I don't think it would have saved you, but no. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, worth it.
60 seconds remaining.
No holding back.
Sure, it's fine. Just disengage. Should be fine. She can't aim to save her life, so it's fine. Now, I'm gonna have you. Oh, it is the Soul Dynasty skin. There you go. Just like looking at the. Okay, I'm not looking at the Genji cheeks here. Okay. Where's your shotgun angle here? Let's see if you can practice this. You don't want to be in the side of the middle of the enemy team. You want to be close. But you want to be in a bit of an angle. Where could you go? I think there's a couple of options here. You could go here. You could go here. You could go here. That's what the map gives you. You don't have to use your dash or anything to get there. You could just kind of walk there. What I don't want you to do is ironically the exact same thing that you did, right? Find a way to close the distance on this guy using cover, right? Now you can dash in. This isn't a bad play. You will get close. But then even here, like, stay on him. You were close to him. Again, do you see how every action that you take always ends up getting yourself pincered, right? You have to be very deliberate with how you're holding. Stay on the outside, shoot what's close. Don't force specific targets. Don't use your dash if you're not intending to get close to somebody to finish them off. And then obviously be deliberate with whoever you're chasing and whoever you're killing. So next step here. With the information that I have, how can I get close? Should I dash here and fight here? Probably not. I kind of want my dash versus Mei. Should I climb up here and fight? Well, maybe not. Should I dash in here and kind of force the Orisa and shotgun angle from here? Like avoid. So I'm kind of avoiding the rest of the spam angles. I don't know. But you can't stand in the open here. You got to make a decision. Otherwise, this is what happens, right? This is okay. Relax. So you see the flicky there? I know you're thinking. You can see it. You're thinking about OT. Good. Stay on her. You can make a choice here. I don't want you in cart. Make a choice. I don't want you in cart. No cart, please. No cart, no cart, no cart. Okay, there he is. Okay. Yeah? Don't deflect this. Don't deflect this, please. Okay, we have to leave a wrist ultimate. You're giving me anxiety, mate. You got to walk out of that ultimate. Even just turning and running is faster. Don't forget, you cannot deflect that ultimate. Alrighty. I want to watch one more fight from you, and I want to see you set up for a nice blade. So, I don't like cart. You can be cart for a little bit here, but I want you to leave cart as soon as you can. Where's your angle that can get close to the enemy team safely? Yeah, you can't wall climb that. You can wall climb this, though. The little pillar there. Now, I know what you're going to do. I hope it doesn't happen, but I don't want to see a frontline deflect into a blade right in the middle of the enemy team. I would prefer you to take a spot like here and shoot shurikens, wait for them to walk into you, or you could set up even a blade from here. This might be too far, though. Like, you kind of have to let them, like, if you're just either let the cart push all the way to here, then blade from, like, I don't know, here or something, or they're going to have to walk into you. But if you're going to blade this here, you're going to need your deflect. Okay, the front lane deflect I'm not a fan of, but at least we didn't pop our blade immediately. I'm not sure how I feel about the blade because I think they're going to get a chance to recontest here. Oh, nice shots. Nice shots. Felt like a little unnecessary. Didn't really give you much of an advantage. Good. Good. That's very good. I keep holding that angle there. You have your deflect. I wouldn't chase cart. I would go back here. Well, I guess, I don't know. I can see it. Stay in the Kiriko. Only dash if you need to. Sure. That's fine. This is kind of where Blade would have been useful, yeah? Because they just were able to blow 2 ultimates. They would basically double support ult there. It's nice to actually kill people in double support ult, you know? Couldn't be rivals, eh? Okay, so that was much better. I think a little towards the end, kind of not rushing your dash for no particular reason. All right, so I'm gonna be real with you, mate. I think there's a lot of issues with your game, which is a good thing. It is a good thing because it means there's a lot of directions that you can go with your practice. You can be much more deliberate and cautious and slow and thoughtful with how you're using your alternate fire. Whether it's in duels, whether you're shooting tank, whether you're shooting anything, it's being a little less flicky, a little bit more deliberate. You can work a little bit more patiently on setting up good angles to distract, using your cooldowns to bait attention and live. Not that you never go for assassinations, but you kind of wait for the cooldowns first and then go. I think you'd benefit a lot from that, especially in these compositions where those one-shots are less prevalent. And I think you'd benefit a great deal from being respectful of whether you can stay in space when you don't have deflect. So a little bit of everything here. A little bit of everything. I don't love those frontline deflects. I want to see setup, shotgun angle, setup, and I want to see slow with your alternate fire. Those are the 2 big ones for me. We've talked about a lot of other details there, but I think if I were to fixate on any of those 2 things, it would be those things right there. Obviously, we talked about a lot of things here. I think, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, there were a lot more concepts that we kind of touched on without delving in as deep here. That's part of the nature of the replay review. So if any of these don't make sense, just let me know. And good luck with your practice.